Hey everybody, Jazzy here. Welcome to the final part of my Walter boss run in Don't Starve Together. I have 3 more bosses left to fight, starting with Celestial Champion. I just delivered the tribute to the Lunar Island and started the moonstorms. Now, it's time to ride in and start collecting the materials to build the Siphonator. For this part of the run, I'm really going to utilize the Bone Helm. It doesn't actually affect Walter's sanity like it does with other characters, so I'll wear it during the full moons every night to avoid Gestalt attacks. I will want to lower my actual sanity for the moonstorms though, so I'm stopping by the swamp to pick up some reeds. Knight armor has always been my armor of choice for moonstorms because it protects you a lot and also helps to keep your lunacy down. First moonstorm, I'm running straight in and waiting for my blueprints, courtesy of the Elderly Delivery Service. The astragals I won't use in this run because my desert goggles will work just as well and not need to be refueled. Wagstaff clearly did not appreciate my rejection of his gifts because his first choice of locale to hunker down and start demanding tools was directly on top of a tentacle in the swamp. It's both kinky and incredibly inconvenient. But fortunately, you can always just let the birds do their thing and force Wagstaff to search for a better spot to work. For me, the biggest threat during moonstorms is hound waves. It can be really tough to hear the barking sounds until you leave the storm, and then you're out in the middle of nowhere trying to fight them. I kept Pinky right near the edge of the storm, and as soon as the barking starts, I need to run back to deal with them. For the Siphonator, we need 15 moongleams. Once I catch them all, I'm bundling them along with 1.5 nets, which I will use to re-catch them after unbundling. This video will probably be released just as the October Quality of Life update is dropping, which means that at this point, moongleams last an incredibly long amount of time. So please disregard what I'm doing here because it's already outdated. We need to help Wagstaff 3 times to get enough restrained static for the Siphonator, and I'm waiting until the final moonstorm to mine the infused moon shards, of which we need 30. Again, I'm not going to go into a ton of detail about how I need to bundle these after every 2 harvests because their spoilage time is now 8 times longer. Just know that this event used to cost a whole lot of rope. Side note about getting hound waves in random biomes. Don't expect walrus camps to be a helpful distraction. Check this out. I hit an ice dog from a hound wave and it aggroed a nearby mac tusk. If you're in the triple mac biome, then you can usually have better luck with tall birds for hound distraction. For what it's worth, I did try using the slingshot against the moonbirds. It seemed to go about as quickly as just hitting them with the cane, so I'm not sure if there's any actual benefit to using it during moonstorms. There's always been this weird delay with the targeting system in DST, and because of it, the game can take a few seconds to acquire a new target after you kill one. This month's QOL update may have fixed the bug, so I would definitely give this strategy another try when the slingshot's able to fire off rounds continually without the targeting delay. I honestly picked the worst time to stream this boss run, a month before the moonstorm and targeting system got these reworks. Day 176, I got everything I need for the Siphonator. 30 infused shards, 15 moongleams, 3 restrained static, 2 doodads, and the celestial orb. Before I unbundle the moongleams, I'm throwing on my eyebrella. Otherwise, I'm gonna get zapped
to bejesus and back.
So a little insulation is necessary so the run doesn't end with moongleams. I look forward to not having to do this anymore. Okay, let's do this. I'm gonna fight the Celestial Champion with Pinky and her war saddle. This will give me a few big advantages during the fight. Firstly, there's the Beefalo speed, which is very important during the second phase to keep from getting shredded. Second, there's obviously all the strength and protection that an ornery Beefalo provides. But most importantly, I can wear my bone helm for the fight and not have to worry about lunacy. Even if we get hit, none of the attacks are projectile, so the bone helm will not lose any durability. Beefalo are great for this fight. I just need to make sure to remount after every phase because the whole fight will take a couple of days and I don't want to get bucked. For the last phase, I'm going to use the slingshot. This will allow me to keep a safe distance from the enlightening snares, and all I need to worry about is dodging the lasers and the Gestalt summons. It's another great opportunity to use cursed rounds, because the boss will remain completely stationary unless you move into melee range, so all the shadow tentacles will land their hits. It will take on average 165 cursed rounds, but you should probably make some extra just in case you spawn fewer tentacles. You can also use 275 marble rounds or 412 gold rounds. I have a bunch of extra marbles, so I'm going to use those once the cursed ammo runs out. I was just about to kill the boss when we got a frog rain. right at the beginning of spring. I normally appreciate the assist, but in this moment, I felt like the kill was utterly stolen from Walter. This is not how I wanted this epic fight to end. But it goes to show you that the game does not really care what you want. It is inherently random in nature, and there's only so much you can do to control any situation. In the end, we just gotta roll with whatever the random number generator throws at us. So, Pog Rain? With a big question mark there. Anyways, we got our Enlightened Crown, and now there's 2 more bosses to take down. First, though, we're gonna need some more weather panes. So let's go fight a moose goose for feathers. What's that you say? Another boss fight? Cue Pog Rain Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. You know, because the Mosslings summon lightning? Electric? Yeah, the game apparently decided that I'm no longer allowed to solo bosses. So, whatever. Frog legs. Yay. Anyways, now I'm back in the desert killing Volt Goats for horn. Pog Rain Part 3! Seriously, I can't make this stuff up. Somebody please tell these frogs that a charged goat doesn't count as a boss. Halfway through spring and already 3 frog rains. I'm taking this as a hint that my time with Walter might be coming to a close. By the way, never fight charged goats without both armor and insulation, because guess what? They can hit the rider of a beefalo. That's right, the damage travels to Walter. It's 25 damage, which is the base damage of the attack before the lightning. So maybe the insulation nullifies the extra damage? I don't know, it's weird, so just be careful. Now it's time for Malbatross, so I'm gonna go fishing at a shoal. Sometimes Malbatross will already be at a shoal, but if it isn't, you can try fishing to spawn it. Every time a deep sea bass gets hooked, there's a 10% chance that Malbatross will spawn. So it doesn't usually take too long before it appears and starts to hunt for fish. Make sure to drop an anchor on your battle boat. Otherwise, Malbatross will start nudging the boat away with each attack. I'm using a weather pane to aggro her because it has a long range and will usually knock a few feathers off. If you're trying to maximize the feather drops, you can fight her with a low damage weapon. You can actually kill her with a single spear, but I'd keep a better weapon on hand just in case you need to end the fight quickly. At some point, she'll fly away and start sending waves at you. Try to re-aggro her as quickly as possible so that she flies back into melee range. Otherwise, you can have a very hard time swimming back to her against the waves. I forgot to lower the anchor on my main boat, so I had to take a break to row back over and drop the anchor. Then I'm rowing in a circle around her to try and get back in range while dodging the waves. Thank goodness for the increased rowing power from the waterlogged update. Otherwise, this would be close to impossible. My armor started getting low, so I decided to switch to a dark sword and end the fight. Malbatross doesn't have a ton of HP, so it doesn't take too long to kill her. Now there's one more boss left to kill. Toadstool. For this fight, I'm gonna craft 8 glass axes. I've got plenty of moon glass from Celestial Champion, and the orb now has all of the recipes from the altar, so I can craft what I need from the comfort of home. Then I'm heading back to the ruins to make 2 more thulecite suits. I'm gonna use the Enlightened Crown for extra damage, so I need to use body armor for protection. We're fighting Toadstool during spring, and it happens to be completely wet as I'm getting started. So for the first part, I'm gonna use a Morning Star, which will deal 72 damage per hit. Coupled with the crown, I'm getting about 230 damage per second, which is pretty solid for a default damage character. The only hassle is that I need to keep my sanity topped off with cooked cactus. Walter's great for this method because he won't be affected by the sanity drain of Toadstool. It gets tougher in the final phase because Walter will likely start taking more damage from the stomping and the earthquakes. So keeping his sanity topped off becomes a lot more challenging. I'm freezing Toadstool with freeze rounds, which is not super efficient, but saves me the hassle of juggling a bunch of ice staves and losing sanity. I just need to take the Enlightened Crown off while freezing, otherwise the Gestalts will unfreeze Toad. I'm also switching to Dark Swords now because the boss is no longer wet. Because it is the final fight, this game is throwing everything at me, including a Depths Worm wave. I need to position the worms around Toadstool so that they will die to the boom shrooms and the stomps. It sucks though because it will likely cost me an entire round of summoning and I need to play catch up afterwards with the spore caps. Fortunately, I have enough freeze rounds to keep Toad on ice while I spam weather panes to knock down all the trees. Toadstool fell on day 196, marking the end of the boss run. I really enjoyed this run. Walter has some unique advantages when it comes to early game survival, and I'm thankful that I got the opportunity to experience him as a solo character. One thing I love about Don't Starve Together is how different of an experience you can have surviving as each character, And I hope that this series shines some light on a style of gameplay that you might have never experienced before. If you're not in a frantic rush to kill all the bosses as quickly as possible, then maybe consider rushing a Beefalo as Walter. You will be rewarded not only with a versatile ranged weapon, but also with the safety of a Beefalo, the expanded inventory of Wobie, and a very forgiving management of sanity. Let me know if there are any aspects of Walter that I didn't get around to covering, if you think I missed out on any boss strategies, or if I could have done anything more easily. I don't have a ton of Walter experience, but this series definitely helped me to understand his abilities more clearly. Thanks again for watching. Please subscribe if you like DST content, and stay tuned for the Wanda boss run coming out soon. Take care.